an elevator pitch for your business. But do you know that even as entrepreneurs, you need to also have an elevator pitch about yourself, about what you do. Just let me skip this because I think I would like to see. Yeah. So, do you know that even aside from having an elevator pitch for your business, it's also very ideal and essential that you actually have something, for yourself as well. So if you know, just let me let me see by a wave of hand. And if you didn't know, you can just drop it in the comments that, oh, this is the first time you're hearing that. Then I can see Precious has her hands raised up. Do you have a question or is that a mistake? Okay, that was a mistake. So is this the first time you're hearing about this? That even as an entrepreneur, you need to have an elevator pitch that even talks about yourself. When you meet people, how do you introduce yourself? How do you leave that impression about what you do? So I'm still waiting. Is this the first time you're hearing about that? Or have you heard about this before? Okay, so Precious says it's not our first time. Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, that's good to hear then. So now jumping right back into the session. So just as we're about to kick off, in the chat, I want you to write, I'm going to come back to it. So ensure that if you're on this call, you actually do write it in the chat. Three things about you that when people think about, oh, Precious, what are the three things that you think people would come to mind? What are the three things, the keywords, that represents you as a person? So when you think about Kikisaba or Peace David or Blessing Patrick, what are the three things, that describes who you are as a person? So do write that in the comments and we'll come back to that. So when we talk about personal branding, networking, and public speaking, I'm very sure this is not the first time we are hearing about this. As I said, it is very important that as an entrepreneur, people get to know you as a person for what you do. There are sometimes where whatever it is that you're doing, your business or your enterprise, would be closely associated with who you are. But it is also very important that there is this difference or there is this demarcation. This is the company and this is who I am as the founder of that company, right? And when you talk about networking and public speaking, I am very sure that um, I don't know if we've been able to overcome the fear of public speaking, but it is very normal when you're amidst maybe an event or in a crowd, and then the urge to actually take charge or take off the microphone to maybe give a speech or introduce yourself. I'm very sure to a very large extent, not everybody rushes to the front of the queue to do that, right? And that is very, very normal. So we're going to look into the art of networking. When you talk about networking, a lot of people think, oh, networking has to do with when you meet people, you go to events, you tell them your name, you exchange your business card, but that is not all networking, entails. And when you talk about public speaking, we're also going to discuss, how to ensure that okay, you are very confident when it comes to speaking publicly, and how to overcome stage fright. By the way, stage fright is very normal. It means that you care about what you want to talk about, and it shows that you are present. So yeah, we'll dive right in. So you find out that when you talk about your personal brand, thinking about entrepreneurs, we have people like Elon Musk, we have Steve Jobs, we have Oprah Winfrey. That's in the entrepreneurship space. Then when you talk about celebrities, In the media and entertainment space, we have Beyonce, we have Tiwa Savage, we have Toke, we even have Bobrisky, right? So you find that as individuals, in this world we are actually quite, the population is quite a lot. So it's very important that to a very large extent people know you for who you are and what you do. Right. And you find out that when you've been able to actually build a brand for yourself, it makes it easy for people to associate with whatever it is that you're doing. So you find out that a lot of celebrities and influencers nowadays, they go into business, creating maybe a fashion brand or a beauty brand, and they're able to pull on the influence they have. They've been able to build personally and use this to actually channel, growth and sales and even visibility for their brand. So it's actually very important. But when you talk about personal branding, there is good PR and bad PR. And basically there is always this ideology that first impression matters. I believe that first impression matters, but I also do not be entirely, believe that you get to know everything about a person just by the first encounter, right? So when you go out for events, even within virtual spaces like this, within other events or occasions where you have to show up, whether physically or virtually, the impression, it's very important that you actually leave a good impression. Or even when you introduce yourself in such a way that even if they do not remember everything you said, they at least have a key thing that they would use to remember you by. And if your name does come up in the future, they can easily, refer back on whatever previous conversation you've also had. Right. So now let's take a look at personal branding. So personal branding here is the practice of marketing yourself. So as I said, you do not just market your business. Your business is there, very important. Your idea is there, very important. You need to tell people about what you do, but you're about what you are doing in terms of your enterprise. But it's also important that people also get to know you as the person behind that, right? And if you're in the service market where you possibly have like skills, maybe in fashion designing, web development, in software development, it's also very important that you have a solid personal brand for yourself. Now, what this helps you do is, as I said, when the need arises, because you've actually been intentional about striking that conversation, introducing yourself with that particular person, they would remember. So if an opportunity does come up, they would remember, your name will come back to their mind. It also helps you build trust with those that you work with, and it also attracts you to opportunities. Now, when you talk about how do you craft a personal brand, there are various ways that you can do this. Excuse me. So it's all about looking at to know who you actually stand or who you are as a person. You need to look at, okay, what are your skill sets? What are those things that you are good at? What are those things that makes you different from person A or person B? So once you've been able to identify this, that's also one of the reasons why I said you should write three key things when you think about yourself. What are the three key things that you can use to describe yourself as a person? So what are your skills? What are your expertise? What are you interested in? That's one. What are your passion? What are your values? Then your unique background, your experience. And then sometimes all of this can be in line with what your business, that's what you're doing. And sometimes you as a person, you might, your values, your skills and your expertise might even be a bit different from, your business as a whole. So you might, as a person, you might love travel, you might love food, you might love some exploring, meeting people, whereas your business, has to do with something in healthcare, right? It doesn't necessarily mean, okay, as a person, you have to, your values or the things you're interested in has to always be in line with what you're doing professionally, right? So another thing, once you've been able to identify what you are good at and what interests you, passion is very important because It's what keeps you going even when you do not feel like you do not feel like continuing, and it's also what keeps you going even when unexpected things do happen, right? So once you've been able to identify that, what are you good at as a person? It's very important that you build an online presence. Now, the emphasis is on online presence because the world is a global village or a global market. Um, I've not met any of you physically, but at least I know a couple of you from the virtual interactions that we've been having over the past few months. So the way you compose yourself, even online, is as important as how people interact with you when they meet you physically. So building an online presence also helps you expand your audience or your network, those Um, I would say that the number of people you would meet physically, that you would actually have one-on-one interactions with physically, is nothing compared to the number of people that you would actually interact with, virtually or online in a lifetime, right? So to build a personal presence, I believe by now everybody should have on this call should have at least a LinkedIn profile. So not just social media, not just Instagram, not just Facebook. For you to actually the best platform when it comes to you building your brand as a person, the social network would be LinkedIn. To a very large extent, you find that a lot of people do not know about the how powerful LinkedIn can be. So if you do not have a LinkedIn account, I would recommend that you actually do create one. And if you do have one, but you've not really been maximizing that page, I would really encourage you to go back to your LinkedIn profile. Hopefully, you are still able to log in, reset your password if you can't log in, and try to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So we'll get into how to optimize your LinkedIn profile such that it gives a good representation of who you are, and hopefully see how we can also leverage AI to help you achieve this. Now, if you want to go a step further, you all know about SEO. If you want to search for best hairdresser in Lagos, or where to get so in Lagos, you search on Google, you find out that a couple of results will come up, and that is because they've been able to optimize their online presence using SEO. So aside from LinkedIn, it's also advisable that you actually do have like your personal website or your portfolio. Now, when you talk about your portfolio could be when you upload some of your works, or the impact of some of your works, so that visuals in visual form. It can be on Google Drive. It doesn't necessarily always have to be technical in the sense that you have to build a website or a mobile app. It can be on Google Drive, as long as you can easily share this. So when people are interested in maybe working with you, and this is very important if you're even like in the freelancing space at the moment, because I know that even aside from your businesses, you possibly have one or two skills in which you're monetizing, to earn extra income. So it's very important that you have a Google Drive that you can share. If you want to take it a step further, you can develop a personal website. Now, to develop a personal website, we thank God for advancement in technology. You do not necessarily need to go and hire a website developer to do that for you. There are online platforms that enables you to build a website, right? I know about Wix. There's also WordPress, but WordPress you might need to like brush up your skills on WordPress using YouTube. But WordPress is also a very good way. Wix is also a good one, and there are several others. You can just check. And because even you can even ask ChatGPT, what are the top websites I can use to build a personal website for myself that is free, and to give you suggestions. I'll tell you to give you the links as well so that you will be able to easily access the links. So developing a personal website, it does two things. Number one, aside from giving people your LinkedIn profile, you can actually just share your link, your website URL. It also gives that impression that, oh, this is someone that actually takes themselves as a brand, pardon me, very seriously. people can know everything you want them to know about you on that page, on that website. It can just be a landing page, just a single page website. It doesn't need to be multi-page. Then you can also refer them to take actions on key things you want them to do. So if it is to book your service, if it is to contact you, maybe book for a consultation or book for a one-on-one, if it is to explore some of your previous works, if it is to see the logos of people or brands that you've worked with in the past, if it is a little bit more about your background, your history, and you find out that while a lot of people also use CVs, even if you have a CV right now, I think you can actually also have like a website where you put your website link and make sure that link is clickable. It also helps with hiring. It also helps recruitment and hiring managers to get to know more about you, and it gives you an upper edge when compared to others that are just applying. Then the other thing the personal website helps you achieve is your SEO. Excuse me. So when people go online and they search for Blessing Patrick, what comes up? Yeah, thank God, LinkedIn is very optimized. So there's a very high possibility that your profile, your LinkedIn profile might come up. But aside from that, what else comes up? How do people even get to know a little bit more about you, right? So your website, once you have a personal website, you're able to optimize your SEO, and that enables people. It ensures that when people search for you, that's whether Kikisaba or Prince David, your name comes up and they can read more about you. It helps. You might not know when, but it really help. It really does help. So that is that, right? Then the third thing here is, as I've said, it's not just about having a LinkedIn profile. You need to be active. When I say active, it does not mean you should overwork yourself by trying to post every day or twice a day. No, you can just maybe create in your busy schedule, just find a time where you can post maybe once a week for starters, or twice a week, or depending on how your schedule is, just find what works for you. But aside from being active, you need to know what are the things you want to actually talk about, because you can't just go online and post something just random. Someone has been able to do this very well. I don't know if she's on this call. That's Ayomide Adewale. Yeah. So ordinarily, I might not have really gotten to know a little bit more about her, but the fact that she has been able to leverage her LinkedIn to talk about what she has been doing, what she has been learning, during this since the beginning of this course. Blessing Patrick has also, done that. Sharing insight of what she has gained, the value or the knowledge she has gained, and how she's going to be implementing that in her business. So she has been able to do this consistently, and I know she's in the fashion space. So even with this, when you see this, okay, people get to see it, they interact with it, and when they interact with it, it comes into the timeline of other people. So when they like, those that you do not know but are within the networks of whoever liked your post, their friends and networks will get to see it, and that also helps in visibility. So that is one of the key ways in which you build your online presence, being active. So being active here, it can be about your business, sharing, okay, when you go to an event, not just going, taking pictures, getting merch, and then, going back home. You can actually write a post, a piece on, I attended the WeTech 2023-2024 event. It was this. I got to meet this. These were the key panels, and then reflect on everything you've learned. How would you see how you can implement this, personally, whether for yourself or for your business, right? So that is another suggestion. You've been learning within this program. You can also do a piece on your socials to share your insights, and how this would also help you. It can also be for your business. Maybe you're able to get you achieve a milestone, or you get a good review from a customer. Like, it's social media, so there's no social media police that will say this is what you can post and this is not what you can post. So just find a way, find your niche, find what you are very comfortable with when it comes to you talking about that subject matter, and you can just pace yourself, break it down, and see how you can, get busy or get active on your social media. And yeah, so also sharing leadership content. So in your industry, if you are a freelancer, you can share, mistakes you've made, as a freelancer. What are the things that have worked for you? And it also indirectly makes you a thought leader, within that subject area. So it's also very good. There are people like Diolushola on IG. You have a Aproko doctor. Thank God, at least you would. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't know Aproko doctor. So you might not know Aproko doctor for as being a doctor, but at least the fact that he has been posting consistently, sharing his thought about health and wellness practices, it just also gives him that leadership voice, within that space. And if in the future a Aproko doctor launches a product or a business or a startup, or has like this campaign, is going to be able to build on the followership and the audience that he has been gaining over the couple of years while he has been building his online presence. And that would indirectly, help whatever project he's working on. Right. So as an entrepreneur, I cannot emphasize this. It is very important. And not just even as an entrepreneur, even you as a person, you need to be able to build your online presence. People need to know you for who you are. What do you do? And the beautiful thing about it is you are in control of your story, of your narrative, what you want to put out there. You're in control of what you want people to know or to know about you, right? So enough of this. Let's move on. So the third thing is you need to be consistent across platforms. Now, I'm not going to mention names, but yeah, excuse me. So I'm not going to mention names of platforms, but we all know that sometimes we are very, very maybe professional, very serious on some platforms, and on some other platforms we are very what's the name now? It's like we're the opposite of what we represent in the previous platform. And some other platforms allows you to, share your thoughts, to rant, to even, insult people and all of that. So I would very, very much recommend that you are very intentional about what you do on social media. Even when you do post things and you delete them, it's not really gone. So be very careful. Hiring managers, do their background checks to see what you've been up to on socials. So as an entrepreneur who that your personal brand is very important, and it can directly or indirectly affect how people see your business. It's essential that you remain consistent. What people think about you remains consistent, not that Aproko doctor is this person that talks about health and wellness on Instagram, and on TikTok he's one with maybe cigarettes and promoting violence and all of that. That gives them two-face, right? So it needs to remain consistent. So another thing you can do to remain consistent is using the same photo across your social media platform. So this indirectly makes people just recognize you easily, right? Because we see so many faces online, right? So once you have like this, your professional picture across your platforms for a while, I know, maybe sometimes we take a lot of pictures and you want to change your DP and all of that. It's not bad, but it's also very good for people to actually like do know you, like have a face that they really can really easily remember and associate with. Then maintain your tone and messaging. I already stated that. Align your online presence with your offline behavior. This is very important. So you find out that even one-on-one, I've interacted with a couple of people that online they are so inspirational, but when you meet them offline, it's like the same example I gave with Aproko doctor. Let's say this person, for instance, is a promotion of health and well-being and mental wellness, and you find out that their offline behavior is entirely contradictory to this, right? So it's very important that what people people associate, or they believe, or they know you to represent, whether online or offline, it's actually the same, right? Then it's also very important that once in a while you also update your profile in terms of what you've been up to. You know, we grow. And another thing you can do to actually make sure that you're growing is maybe within each month you can have in a key subject area that you want to learn. So there's LinkedIn Learning, which some courses they are free. There's YouTube. A lot of people do not they uh, they do not maximize YouTube a lot. So there's YouTube. There is Allison, where you can also learn like top courses for free, right? So you can grow yourself. So even if you would like to be a thought leader when it comes to maybe entrepreneurship, or when it comes to mental health, when it comes to sustainability and climate change, you can actually go out there and gain the knowledge. And what you are learning, you can just create a post, to summarize and post and share with others, so that others can also learn from you. And when you're able to do this consistently, you're also building your personal brand. So one key thing I would want you guys to do is, aside from seeing people's posts online and interacting with them, you need to actually study how these people, these personalities present themselves online. What are the types of contents they share? How do they engage with their audience? So I am going to just take a quick break here to know if we have any questions before I move on to the art of networking. So does anyone have any question, anything you want to add, share, remove before we move on?
Please, if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat box, or can you unmute your mic and speak? Any question?
Okay, so if there are no questions, we will move on. So, but if you have any question, feel free to write it in the chat, and hopefully we'll be able to address them before the end of the session. Let me bring this back up. Yep. Okay, so talking about networking. Networking, I'm very sure we've all heard about the word, right? But there's this misconception. I'm not going to ask you to define what networking is, because I believe you should have one or two knowledge or insight as to what networking is all about. But there's this misconception that networking entails, going to events and meeting people and maybe sharing your business card, and that is it. So networking sometimes begins, what a lot of people do not know is that networking is actually in three phases. It begins even before you go out for that event. It's when you are at that event, and even after the event. Now, I say event, it doesn't necessarily mean it always has to be like this conference or this trade fair or this tech event. It can even just be one-on-one interactions with people, just meeting people, right? So let's just, for the sake of this session, we're just going to use conferences, all these tech conferences as an example. So someone like Tech Cabal says, oh, they'll be having their event, maybe the Moonshot event, and you can see the top voices that they'll be inviting. So if you would want to network with someone, maybe someone that is going to be attending that event, you feel, or there's something you would like to learn, or you would like to just have them, within your network, you can easily reach out to that person even before the event. Introduce yourself and, oh, I'm really looking forward to, I'm meeting you. I'm really looking forward to the panel session. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on so and so topic. And indirectly, that person already knows you. Might not know you fully, but at least knows your name. So during the event, you can walk up to the person and, oh, hi. So we spoke online, or we chatted briefly online. I am this. Oh, it was so, I listened to your the panel discussion, and it was amazing. You give feedback. And that also helps them, get to at least know you a little bit better. Then even after the event, you can just say, oh, it was great meeting and catching up with you. Maybe one of these days we can maybe have a quick discussion or so and so. So sometimes people misuse networking to mean that, oh, you want to get something from that person. You can just interact with people. You don't necessarily need to only interact with people when you need to get things from them. When you're interacting with someone, when you need to get something from that person, that's you're already late, to a very large extent, especially if it is someone you do not necessarily have an existing relationship with. So you networking with people and building your those that you have within your network, even before you realize, or even before you actually need them for maybe one or two things, it is very important because it already makes you guys a bit close. So there's this existing relationship between the two of you. And so when the opportunity or the avenue, the a reason arises that you need to reach out to this person to seek for their support, or in any way whatsoever, you can easily do that because it's not as though you're speaking with a stranger. So when you're networking at events, it's key things in which would help you. I believe we'll go into that very shortly. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. So key things that would help you is to, reach out. So you need to reach out. I know that some of us here are introverted, some are extroverted, but irrespective, you need to be able to reach out to people. And one of the things that one of the things that I think over the years, even from personal experience, you believe, oh, if I reach out to the person might snub me, or the person might not engage, or might not want to engage with me, or the person might think I'm being too forward. All of those are just thoughts in your mind. Just reach out, introduce yourself, ask, and people love to talk about themselves. So ask what they do, what are they doing. If you are meeting them at an event, oh, why, how did you hear about this event? Why did you register? Or what was, like, what are the key things you're looking forward to, tapping into? Now get to know a little bit about their work, right? And when you've been able to listen, it's also very good to be able to listen. You've listened, they would also ask you questions, definitely. And then that is your own opportunity to also sell yourself. What do you do? Don't talk about who you are per se. Talk about what you do, so they can remember. So don't talk about, oh, I love animals, I love cats, I love food, I love this, I love traveling. Talk about what do you do um as a person, professional, and what do you do career wise? What do you do? What are your soft skills? What are the things that what are the things that gets you going work wise, right? So talk about that, because even from there, an opportunity might be there right at that moment, or maybe in the future, um an opportunity arises and they will remember you. So as I said, it's important that you build genuine relationships, right? It's not entirely when you meet them that you start trying to build that relationship. It's going to be very obvious by then that, oh, she's trying to get close to me because she needs this and this. And you don't want people to really associate you in that light. So associate with you in that light. So build genuine relationships. You can start with your close circles. That's within your community, your church, your fellowship. If you're a worker, interact with those within your unit, even other units, like build that community, right? Then you can take it a step further. If you're still in school, your department, others within your department, in your hostel, your residence, um, and also be genuinely interested in listening. Ask questions and listen actively. So it's not just, oh, I think I want to actually network with this person. So you then go and ask the person questions, and then when the person is responding, you are distracted. You're typing your phone, or you are not really. You can tell when someone is really listening to you, right? You're not listening actively. It gives the person a vibe that, oh, this person is not serious or doesn't really want to even get to interact. So before you know, that conversation is it's going to die off. So listening actively, when you listen actively to enable you know key areas where you can even ask questions so that you build on that conversation. So you can offer value before asking for favor, right? So follow up, meaning just checking on them. So I was at an event recently, and one of the speakers mentioned that she's also a colleague, right? Mentioned that one of the key things she does, which I think I would also want to do, is whenever she goes to events and she meets people, aside from adding them to your LinkedIn network and connecting on LinkedIn, like she gets their name and their email and adds them to Notion. So it can also be like your Google Doc. And at the end of the year, she sends a message to everyone and just says, "Oh, hi, trust you've been good. Trust the year was great. It was really great meeting you, so at so and so. Um, wish you a great year, a happy new year, wish you a great year. I hear blah 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 and all of that. So you met this person sometime in February or sometime in April or November, and the fact that this person actually remembers you, like it brings that person back to your mind that, oh, I met this lady or this guy at so and so. So just make sure, whether directly or indirectly, that people actually remember you. It's when they remember you that they would remember you when an opportunity arises that you can tap into. And be patient. It takes time, right? It takes time. It's a lifelong journey. You build your networks, even as you grow. So it's a continuous journey. So I have emphasized about the importance of using social media. There's LinkedIn, right, for professionals. There's Twitter. So sometimes you just find the social platform that works for you. Sometimes you can use all three, like if you're very comfortable with all three. But there are some people that are comfortable with LinkedIn, they're not comfortable with Twitter, and vice versa. So just find what works for you and use that. Then attend events. So you have seminars, university programs, attend events. These are events where they've done the work for you. They've brought these people together. All you need to do is to just, reach out to them and tap into that network. So yeah. So when we talk about networking, we're in Nigeria, so you talk about etiquette, right? If you're outside of Nigeria, I know there's the vibe that, oh, you do not call people sir, ma. Oh, if the person is Professor Lucy, you call her Lucy. Hello, Lucy, it's great to meet you. And that is good. But if you're in Nigeria, you just know where you are. You're like the the culture of your current location. So if you meet a professor and you say, hello, Lucy, hey, that already gives an impression that, okay, maybe this person is not serious or this person is not respectful. So, like, be cautious, show respect for their age, position, and dress appropriately. They say the way you dress is the way you want to be addressed. So, dress, whether we like it or not, people actually do take note of those things, especially at physical events, even virtual too, right? So, dress appropriately and learn basic greetings in major Nigerian languages. At least you can never tell. I know that when you want to, for ladies that are here, you might be able to relate with this. You want to go and get pepper at that malam's place, and you just say, "Oh, Nani, Yayaiki," and things like that, and he will be so happy. And before you know, he will put Jara and Fisi and like Jara and put for you. Why? Because you've been able to like greet them in their own language. So it warms them up. It makes them, welcome you. So that also helps, in the professional space. So now we've talked about networking. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them and I'll attend to them. So I'm going to run through public speaking quickly. So when you talk about public speaking, even forget public speaking, just speaking generally. You find out that you are possibly more comfortable speaking or talking with friends, colleagues, family, members. But when it now has to do with you going on a stage, there's something called stage fright. You don't know where it comes from. Like the same thing you're talking about, you can easily, just share and talk with just with friends about that same subject matter, and you won't even realize you're doing it. But then when you're not holding a microphone, or people, you're on a podium, people are looking at you, you're like, oh my god, so many things will come into your head. So we call that stage fright, and it is very normal, right? So the important thing here is to learn how to overcome stage fright, and to also learn strategies to make sure that whatever it is that you're communicating, you're able to connect with your audience, right? And you're able to deliver the message. Give me a second. Let me just take water.
You can write your questions in chat box, right? To be attended to, definitely.
Okay, so I'm back. Thanks for that quick break. I know that sometimes I've been told I talk very fast. So if you think I'm talking too fast, please just let me know and I'll pace myself. Right. So as an entrepreneur, you find out that whether you like it or not, you have to talk publicly. Like whether it's an elevator pitch, as you all know. Yeah, not necessarily an elevator. We call it an elevator pitch because you need to be able to communicate everything you do as fast as possible, right? In a way that it sparks their interest within just 1 minute or 2 minutes. So that's why it's called an elevator pitch. But you find out that sometimes you need to like talk to investors, you need to talk to partners, those you want to work with, you need to talk to maybe a potential customer. You need to sell, let them convince them that you are the right person to do the job. You need to talk to your team members or people you want them to work with you, or you want to bring someone on board, maybe your co-founder or your partner, right? So public speaking here entails you have something you want to share, being able to share that as seamlessly as possible, and communicating. Communicating means you're not just talking, but people actually do understand what you are saying, and they're able to process that and maybe give feedback. So pitch your ideas. You have to talk publicly, especially when you go for competitions. I don't know if some of you have started, doing all of that when you attend incubator programs. Now, Founder City, this course is entirely virtual, but there'll be, situations in the future where we would invite top performing alumni. So after this program ends, you become alumni of the program. So there'll be opportunities to pitch, right? So pitching physically or pitching virtually, you will need to pitch your idea. When you need to inspire your team, when you're at maybe conferences or maybe even within a circle, right? And you need to talk. So it's also like, as long as it's already like 2 or 3 or more people, we also call that public speaking. So let's move. So the first thing, as I said, even with networking, it's you do not, when you have to deliver a public speech, it doesn't start at that point, at that podium or at that stage. The preparation starts way before, right? You need to process your thoughts to know what exactly it is you want to communicate. Then it's also important, especially if you're delivering a pitch. I can't stress this enough. You need to practice. When I say practice does not mean you're practicing in your head. You need to be in character and practice. Practice with a mirror in front of you. Practice if you have a presentation or your pitch deck, or a presentation material. Practice also while using that material, and say it out loud. because there is this mistake a lot of people do is, it sounds very nice and it sounds concise and put together in your mind, only for you to now want to voice it out and then you stutter, right? So practice regularly. And there are opportunities where you can actually do this. If you are still in school, there will be opportunities where they say, oh, group work, class presentation, competitions, even if you're within maybe a physical incubator program or an entrepreneurship program, just take that courage to always like put your hands up to just talk. So you get better and you get more confident at speaking publicly when you actually do speak, publicly. I know in school, personally, I used to run away from anything that has to do with public speaking. So you find out that when we have a group work, yes, I do all of the brain work in the background, but when it comes to presentation, I would run away from that. So allow other people, do that. And what that does indirectly is that people associate. So it just means that when it comes to the lecturer gets to know who who does the presentation, not all those that were in that group. So it's very important that you are able to also like step up, right? Let people, if you've done the work, let people know, put a face to who has done that work. Then, as I said, start small, right? A lot of people and colleagues, classmates that were able to, they were very visible. You find out that lecturers do get to know them and they are so free with these lecturers, right? And they are able to get favors from them. Why? Because they've been able to speak, right? Step up, right? And you that you are doing the real work, you just be there in the background and nobody knows you. So it's not a great thing, right? And you find out that even after you graduate, all of these skills, public speaking, presentation skills that you've been shying away from, they actually would matter and they would be of great benefit when you are working, depending on what your job, entails you to do. So use opportunities. If you're still in school, when they say presentation, don't run to the back, take that courage. And it's better to feel small than feel big, right? So yeah, so start small. Use visual. It's very important to use visuals. So think you can see yourself. They say you become what you see. So see yourself making that presentation and doing it seamlessly. Focus on your message, and if possible, always have like a presentation material so that it distracts attention from you as a person, but makes them focus on the material. So yeah. So because when you're on the stage, a lot of people's attention will be on you because they have no other place to put their attention. There's nothing else drawing their attention away from you. But when you have like a presentation material, maybe there's a TV screen or a what's it called now? The name is eluding me. So there is this when you project a projector. So they are looking at the projector. They're looking at your slides, your presentation there. So you find out that even as you're talking, their eyes are there, whereas you are here. So a well-structured presentation is very important. So start with a question. You can start with a question. You can start with a bold statement. And use transitions. And one other thing about public speaking, especially if it is physical, is you can't just stand as a robot. You need to be able to move around and not move around in such a way that it gives the impression that you are nervous. So just pace yourself. And that is one of the reasons why I said practicing in the comfort of your house, maybe in front of a mirror, is like the best thing to do. Then similarly, you find out that you need to adapt and adjust whatever it is that you're presenting or talking about based on whoever it is that you're talking to. what you need to talk about when you're pitching yourself or your business to an investor is different from how you pitch your business or yourself to your customer or to your team member or to someone you just want to like connect with. And then one other key thing that a lot of people have been able to do that makes their presentation stand out is being able to tell a story. Telling a story here means maybe telling your own story or your customer's story or a story of someone you've seen. It does not mean telling a random story. It means telling a story that is in line with the context of what you are actually talking about. Right. And storytelling here also works very well because you find out that after your 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes presentation, people will not remember everything you've said, but they remember the story. They might not remember what you've said, but they remember how what you've said made them feel. They remember how the story made them feel. And that is what you want. You want people to be able to remember. So, yeah, I think we've actually covered a whole lot. Just to summarize, your personal brand, they all go hand in hand. Building your personal brand, leveraging, your networking, and being able to speak publicly, they should all work together. All of this works together to help you actually define who you are, your personal identity, how people, relate with you. So remember, it takes time, but, be consistent, be authentic, be genuine, learn. As you are learning, feel free to talk about what you are learning so that others can also learn from you, right? And also remember to leverage opportunities such as social events, the social media. Leverage those opportunities to actually talk about what you do. Meet people. Don't be shy to interact with people. It's very normal when you want to just let me be by myself, Jare, but really you need to be intentional, right? Arrive early. Please, if you used to do African time, you need to stop, because when you arrive early, it enables you assess the environment. It even enables you to meet people that also arrived early and you can talk. But when you arrive when the event has already started 30 minutes after, all you have to do is you are forced to sit. And after that, maybe time has gone, you want to go home. So where exactly would you have been able to talk to people? But when you arrive early, you are able to get there, interact with those that are also on ground. And, maybe after the event, you can also meet up again, right? Then another tip is you can have conversation starters, right? Conversation starters are like, oh, hi, so tell me what you do, or what, as I said earlier, how did you know about this event? How did you hear about this event? Or what are the key things you're looking forward to? Or is there a particular speaker you're looking forward to meeting? And things like that. Or where did you come from? Was there traffic? Yeah. I also experienced traffic. Find a common interest. And yeah, please don't forget to share your contact details, because it makes no sense to have all of that conversation, know that person, and then it ends there. Trust me, it will end there if you do not get your contact details. And I would advise, don't get people's number. I don't really give people my number anymore, because I would save your contact, but that doesn't mean we would actually get to talk, right? But exchange social media handles, whether today or next year, they will at least post, and then you remember, oh, I met this person at that event. So while it's important to share contact information like your phone number, it is more important to share social media handles, your personal one or your business handle, depending on what you guys talked about. And yeah, so that is going to be where we'll be wrapping things up. As an entrepreneur in Nigeria, Nigeria is it's the population is a bit much. Our population is 200 million plus. That is like the population of maybe like three countries sometimes combined together. So we are a lot, and it's very important that you're able to stand out, and not just for your business, but even you as the owner of that business. So I hope everything I've said today, you've been able to take, some tips and insights, and I hope you'd create a plan on how you can leverage this and actually, make use of it. it's important to start. Just start. You might not necessarily, it's not about them getting things perfectly. Just start learning, start using LinkedIn, start posting, start the conversation, start meeting people, start being intentional. When you go for events, don't just go because, oh, you think it will be nice. Why are you going for that event? Who do you want to meet? What are the key reasons why? And maybe after the event, you can then reassess. Okay, I said I wanted to do this and this and this. Was I able to achieve that? Or was it just a waste of time and transportation fare? So, one thing I'm going to just do is advise you to create an elevator pitch about yourself. This assignment will not be graded, but I would encourage you to do this for you, right? And these are key resources. I'm sure when Adiola shares this, you would be able to access these links. And thank you so much for your time and for your audience. At this junction, if anyone has questions, I believe the floor will be open for questions. If there's anything you want me to clarify, you can also let me know. And then we move. Okay, so does anyone have any question, or we are good? Let me see. Okay, not my first time. So AB said agricultural entrepreneur. Okay, resourceful. Okay, AB, are you on this call? Is AB on this call? Is AB? Okay, maybe not. Mofe. Okay. Okay. So Mofe and Precious, are you on this call? Okay, so that means Mofe and Precious are not.
Yes, I'm here, please.
Okay. It was actually Precious name is Summer, not Precious Oko. Or is it the same person? Okay. All right. So I'm guessing they are not here. Blessing. Patrick, are you on this call?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you said tech savvy, self-driven, and hardworking. Okay, that's good. So by tech savvy, that means what aspect of tech?
Front-end development, but I'm currently expanding my skills to the cybersecurity space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of both of them.
Okay. All right. So if I may ask, are you active on LinkedIn?
Yes, I am. I'm active on LinkedIn.
Okay. And have you been able to been posting about what you do or what you plan to do or what on LinkedIn?
Yes, I would say I have. Not really consistent, but I can say I have to a large extent. But I'm working towards my consistency.
Okay. All right. That's good. Well done. I like the fact that you're learning or you're interested or you've started learning cybersecurity. So that's also something you can also become as you're learning, you can also maybe create a piece, reflect on reflect on it, and then create something that people can also learn from on LinkedIn. And one other thing that a lot of people, two things actually, it's always important that you create things that educates people, because that also helps you, number one, understand better, and number two, makes you become like a thought leader, in that subject area. Then, aside from posting, being active on socials does not necessarily mean you always have to post. This is to everybody, not just Blessing. Interact with people's posts, engage, drop comments, questions as comments, and people would also get to see that, and oh, who is this lady? View your profile, connect with you. That's how it works.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Creativity, teamwork, Peace David. Okay. So I would say that for those of you, AB, Mofe, and Peace David, you still need to think about what you are passionate about. Because creativity and teamwork, they're like skills, they're like soft skills. That's not what makes you, that's not what differentiates you from the next person. So what exactly is it? What are you passionate about? Right? Someone said agricultural entrepreneur. That means maybe you are passionate about agriculture, right? You can talk about problems when it comes to how climate change affects agriculture, or how transportation, because the increase in transportation has, like, what are the impacts of this when it comes to agriculture. There's several other things you can look at when it comes to those key spaces. With Blessing, she's talking about technology. There are several things you can talk about when it comes to technology. With Precious, Neme Summer, she's talking about business analysis, right? There are several things you can also key into or talk about there. But that you're creative, you're energetic, you're a problem solver, that is beautiful. But that is your personal skill, not really like a passion. I don't know if that makes sense. So does anyone have any question? We'll be